business's brand is powerful, echoing your soul's aspirations out to your market. The name you choose, the date you launch, the colors you adopt, all vibrate your vision to potential clients. Does your business reflect your aspirations and vision? Welcome to Colors Behind the Brand. Join our live and interactive exploration into the energy of color and numerology behind well-known business brands, special guest case studies, and surprise audience spotlights showing you examples of businesses with soul. And now, here are your hosts, Moira Bush, founder of the Moira Bush Academy for Soul Businesses, and Amy Bell, founder of United Colors of Design magazine.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thursday, Moira. How you doing?
Moira's doing great. Looking forward to doing something really unusual today.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be a really interesting show. So I'm Amy Bell. This is Moira Bush. And we have a question for you. Did you know that your business name and date it was launched and your logo colors can reveal to you invisible energy forces behind your brand? Moira and I know this, don't we?
Oh, yeah, we do.
So this interview series is an extension of our article that appears in United Colors of Design magazine. It's called Colors of Business. And so the printed article allows us to have a chat about a famous brand or maybe a not so famous brand and why they have been so successful or why they have not been. And then we extended that article out into this world so that we can do video and introduce you to more famous brands. And also we can talk to entrepreneurs from around the world. So we've been doing interviews with people looking at the colors of their brand, looking at the dates, the launch dates and the names, and then we look at the numerology, we look at the color, we look at the planets, and we give them some insight into their business. But today we're going off the rails. Today, we're going to see if we can apply the same ideas that we have for businesses and CEOs to countries and their leaders. And so, of course, our hearts just go out to everyone who's involved in this conflict. And we wanted to take a look and see how the colors and the planets and the numbers apply to this conflict. And Moira and I are always out for a deeper understanding to kind of put into what we know about color and what it speaks and what it mirrors to us into this conflict that's going on right now. So we'd really love your comments and share this conversation because it's a little bit different, Moira, than what is going on in the news and what's happening on social media. I mean, no one's really looking at this conflict through how we're going to be looking at it, which is through the colors of the flags of the country name, of the leader name. So this is kind of nervous for me and exciting at the same time.
Well, we're pushing our knowledge and experience boundaries here a little bit to see whether we can look through the lens of colors and numbers and just feel what's the story behind Russia and Ukraine and what are the energies that are playing out there, and just to understand it a bit, to understand what's going on. I think people always want to know why things are happening, and is there a higher purpose? Is there a bigger reason behind it? Yeah. And by no means that doesn't mean we are nullifying the fact that there's genuine pain and suffering going on. There is that humanity suffering and crisis busy building up. And we still have to be very practical, even though we can go very highfalutin and kind of tap into the higher frequencies about what's going on with Vladimir Putin and with Zelensky and their countries. Doesn't mean you stop doing practical things like donating and sending money to the Red Cross, for example. You still want to make a difference, and you pray and you pray and you pray and you hold the space for it all to unfold in divine will. Yeah.
I think sometimes it's easy to forget that a country is still a community filled with souls that are here on the planet to do something. And that collectively, when we choose to live in a certain country or in a certain area, we're drawn to that for our own higher learning, our own reaching our full potential. So yeah, this is going to be interesting, because when you're talking war, it's really hard to see how on earth does that apply to the bigger thing when people are being bombed and missiles are being chucked and run over in the street and fire and mayhem and all that stuff, right? So where is the little light in the darkness right now? And I hope that we can shed some light on that during this conversation.
Yeah. Well, we'll have a look. I mean, I put a slide together last night to pull some colors in, some visual aspect of the energy through color.
Yeah.
We can just take it from there. But definitely, Luma and Aurelia, hello, darlings. You've joined us. Please, if you have any questions or any insights as we go along, please add them. You know, you're Aurelia, especially you. You know, you are a color mirrors specialist as well. So if you can help us, help Amy and I, anybody tuning in, help Amy and I to kind of analyze what we're sitting with here, because we're not doing a company, we're doing a country, and we're doing, like Amy says, a community. So shall I go to slide, Amy? Are we
go to slide? Let's get it going. See what's happening.
Okay. Cool. So the first we're going to look at Russia first, and their colors of their flag. When you ask for what are the official colors, it says white, blue, and red, but really it's royal blue. And I should have had the blue and the red bottle switched around, by the way, and I didn't. It's royal blue. It's not a pale blue at all. It really is. And some of the descriptions for the flag says dark blue, which we would take as royal blue. So those to me would be the three colors. White is about purity, and it's about potential, and the red is about survival, materialistic pursuits, and blue, the indigo blue or royal blue, is about your third eye and intuition and vision. So this, so just looking at the flag colors, this is a country that has huge potential. I mean, it is the biggest country in the world. It's the landmass, and it's just incredible. And it has such a variety of fauna and flora and climates and infrastructure. Everything is just, there's just so much potential there. Now, to me, what I want to do with this is I want to have a look at, and something we've not done on the show before, and that is to look at the hidden agenda of this flag's colors. What are the complementary colors that kind of sit behind it? And of course, behind white sits black. So there's that darkness. There sits that ability to create and instigate transformation. But it's also what's not visible in the white, what's hidden in the dark. So they play that duality of that black and white game. The red is green, and green is about war. Green is about land grabbing, putting on your green camouflage and going to war. So they have that potential to do that. And the complementary to royal blue is gold. And gold is about, in its negative state, is about arrogance and abuse of power. In its positive state, it's about sovereignty and royalty. But of course, Russia a long time ago decided that wasn't the route they wanted to take when they wiped out the royal family. So those are the colors, Amy, that to me sit in that flag.
Well, it's interesting that you were drawn to look at the complementary colors of the flag, because normally we kind of just go face value with people's brands and the colors and their logos and stuff like that. But there's so much information behind colors. So going into the complementaries is really, let's see what's going on here, what their potential is in the face colors, and then what's kind of that hidden agenda.
Yeah. And because there is, to me, the whole thing with Vladimir Putin and what he's doing feels like there's a hidden agenda, just on a psychic level tuning in. It's just something on the face, this is what's happening, but there's a hidden agenda that it compelled me to look at the flag's underbelly. It's the hidden side. So that's why I wanted to bring those colors out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a look at Russia as a name. So Russia as a name, of course, Russia's had various variations of its name, the USSR, for example. But Russia itself is a name that's been around for a very, very long time, really literally since the 800s. And if you look at Russia's face to the world, if we were looking at a company name, we would be saying this is the face to the clients, to the market, what would draw people into a company, what would draw people to Russia, and what is Russia, when you say the word Russia, what is that frequency that goes out? And it's 11-2. And 11 is that duality. There sits that black and white energy again. Things are either right or wrong. It's about being the judge, the executioner, and the jury all in one go. One of the reports that are coming out, and of course we don't know that any of these reports are accurate or not, because we know that news can be manipulated, but something was said by I think it was a previous ambassador for Russia about for the Ukraine, that said that the Russian soldiers, if they die, they just left there. No one bothers to pick them up or bury them or look after their dead, and that is a callous attitude they have. That to me is kind of that black and white thing. It's like, well, when you're dead, you're dead. And it's, you just get on with life and you move forward. There isn't emotional time or energy or resources spent on what's done and dusted. So they have this ability to move forward very fast out of situations. That magenta deep darkness that sits at the top of 11, of course, to me, what is a little nervy, I think, and people are feeling that, is the nuclear kind of potential. They wouldn't be afraid to play with nuclear energy. And then 2 is about it again. There sits indigo. There sits that royal blue color, indigo color, that is about the third eye and the vision. So on such a positive note, Russia would have this incredible ability to bring balance to the dark and the light, to bring intuition and vision. I mean, they're such incredible scientists. They're such great inventors. They really can. They have this vision to look into the future and create things that mankind would need for the future that would benefit them. And I think that's why people are drawn to Russia. Why people still invest in it, regardless of its policies and politics. It does come across with that third eye. We can make a good partner, because that's number 2's energy. It's a partnership bottle, and we can innovate together. Right now, I think they're kind of tapping into the dark side of that energy as opposed to the light.
Yeah.
The inside girl, 13-4.
Well, we know what we know about 4, being that disruptor, destruction, kind of lightning energies. So having it on the inside, it's like, oh, I think they're bringing it out right now, striking Ukraine with their lightning bolts at the moment.
Yeah. And also it says how the politics are run on the inside. How does the president control his parliaments, his leaders, his army, and it literally is with a rod of electric light. He would say, I'm the leader, 13. You have King Arthur, 13th member, and he's got 12 knights on the round table. So if Putin sits at the table, he's the boss. He's the one who calls the shots. So that really sits with 13. And Violet is about mental prowess as well, mental prowess and control. So I would imagine that that's the kind of energy that goes on in the internal meetings that happen when they discuss things like going to war.
Well, it would be with like this would be any of the leaders like that come into Russia, because that is not just about Putin. That's about how kind of the underlying ruling happens in this name, if you're calling it a business name, right?
Well, let's put it together. Let's have a look at that. It comes to a 24/6. So for a country that's right now at war, it's very difficult to kind of look at 24/6 that is so pretty and so beautiful and so hopeful. And it's a total contradiction to, the energies that they're playing with right now. But 24 is about money and magic and fun and financial growth and using that olive green for a new beginning to work in a way that's of benefit to everybody else. That's what the divine magenta energy at the top is. And to me, the they're working on the opposite side of that, the olive green war and the nuclear kind of energy in that magenta. They're really working at the wrong, the negative side, because everything in color has a duality. It has a part that says these are the tendencies, and this is the learning and the healing that we can do. Then the pink, of course, is Venus, and Venus has a duality about it as well. Venus is that it has this incredible light and in the sky. It's a very, very bright star in the sky, but we know that its surface is volcanic and dusty and uninhabitable, and it's just a very dense, heavy atmosphere. So it has that side that appears bright and sparkly, and the other side that is completely, you just can't breathe if you got near it. You can't survive on it. So again, I think they're playing out the darker side of that. Yeah, but it's again, Russia has this potential as a country to just be this incredibly, this visionary and this ability to share its wealth and to help other countries grow its wealth and to be loved, and beauty. Venus is about love and beauty. And if you look at the buildings, some of the architecture they have there, it's beautiful. Venus is about beauty and glamour and luxury. So that's that to me. I don't know. Does that sum Russia up for you, Amy? I'm not sure whether we've got this all done. I'm sure there will be some comments that we can get from our viewers or the people watching the recording.
Yeah, I think, let's move on to see how this moves into Putin, because it's an interesting story that, I've seen the slides and what you've done as far as connect some dots here. So it's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, because if Russia has all this incredible potential and beauty and power and vision, if it got the right leader to take it there, it would be an incredibly beautiful, part of the world community, global community. Mm-hmm. So let's have a look at the founding date, by the way. Let me just quickly mention that. The modern founding date, because Russia goes back to the 800s, right? But the modern founding date, when it was stopped being the identity it was before, which was the USSR, and it just became Russia, was the 25th of December 1991. So the current energy that Russia is kind of playing with is a 30 and a 3, and those are the bottles there. So there sits 25. The day, and 7, 2 and 5 make 7, and then the 12th month, December, and 30 and 3. So what we have there is it has the potential as a country to do betrayal games, because 25 is about breaking trust, but on the positive side, it's about building trust and faith. But it can also be a betrayal in its negative side. 12, the month to me is heaven on earth. That's that heaven on earth bottle. They chose a month to say, well, we would like to build heaven on earth. We would like to found this new way of moving forward with our country that we feel we're building a heaven on earth. And then there's the T and 3, the complementaries, turquoise and coral. And whenever complementaries sit together like that, it does indicate some difficulty to achieve what it wants to achieve, and 3 is Jupiter, which is expansion, success, fame, fortune. It kind of has all that Hollywood glamour about it, So this is a country that wants to strive for that, but to do that, they need to tap into the emotional side of themselves, the emotional side of their community and their people, because turquoise is about that. And that bottle 30 is creativity as well. So it says if Russia would allow more of its creativity. Sweetheart, what's going on? Give him to me, darling. Sorry, Cody is moaning. He wants to be so part of this discussion. I don't know if he has.
I think he's moaning. Yeah, he's expressing his
Russia or something, Why are you being a sausage? Why are you being a sausage? Come on, sit here with Mama.
Well, I'm pretty intimate with this 25/7 because I was born on the 25th. So I've worked through a lot of this betrayal and broken trust. And then you had mentioned one time to me that I also have the ability to set people up to betray me. So when this is sitting in a country, like how emotional and how hot and how aggressive it's turning out to be, like when you look at the 4, that's sort of the face out to the world, it's the same as that 25. It's just darker and muddier and flipped upside down. And so I think when they're out in the world and they're putting this face out, you know, they do have the ability to help people like regain their trust. Like that's the goal for this company. Like they can do this, especially with that 30 and 3 out there, you know, like you can do things to bring heaven to earth and to build trust with the rest of the world. But like you said, they're sort of swimming around in those deep, dark waters right now. And not many people are noticing the potential, like looking at the colors. Mm-hmm. If I was looking at these colors for a person or a business, I would be like, this is a great lineup.
Yeah, it is, you know, and I think that is the hidden potential of Russia is this beauty and creativity and the innovative powers they have. You know, it's there. It just, I think it needs a leader to bring that out. So let's have a look at Vladimir and have a look at why he's not bringing that out right now. So his date of birth is the 7th of October, 1952. And his life path is a 25-7. So there sits that 25-7. So he has this link to, the 25-7 is linked to the founding date. And he's a Libran as well. And of course, when you look at Libra is that in the sun signs is a scale. So it's about justice and it's about balance. So on a positive scale, what Librans are here to learn is that balance and fairness and cooperation, literally. And the dark side of Venus is controlling, it's seduction, it's about being subversive. And definitely sneaky energy. And I think that's kind of the side of Libra that he's possibly tapping in. Well, he is tapping into that right now. Let me just put little Cody down.
Yes, Luma. I know. It's when you see these sort of larger than life figures and they're not living out their true Libran potential, we all get to take a look and see how he's doing 25-7 a bit off the charts and how he's living out his Libran life off the charts, you know, like
you must know that Libra is ruled by Venus. So he has that connection, that Venus 6 energy, that is the Russian name, the 24-6 at the top. So he's linked to that whole, he's influenced by Venus. And you know, Venus, when it's the morning star, they called it Lucifer. And when it's the evening star, they called it Vesper. So you have this play with Venus that says, are you going to tap into Lucifer or the goddess? You know, are you going to tap into the dark side of Venus or the light side? And again, I think he's doing the whole kind of darker side energy of Venus. You know, Venus is the planet that's going to teach you about love and to not fight things, but to love things right. And that is, you know, he had a choice. He could have loved Russia. He could have loved the people. He could have loved the potential of this community and this country and all its inhabitants and turn it into this bright, beautiful star, this bright goddess. But no, he's kind of tapping into, he's a leader that's definitely tapping into the other side of it. And again, from a spiritual higher consciousness point of view, there is an agenda at play here, which is soul contracts. So, and we don't know what those contracts are. You know, we get to observe this, and all higher self asks us to do is to not go into judgment of him and what he's doing, because there has to be a contract in place where he had to put his hand up and say, hey, I will go and do the dark side of Venus in this lifetime. And from that, people will learn and evolve, or something will happen. We don't know, because the sacred contracts are sacred. But there's definitely something at play here. But can you imagine him tapping into that Venus energy in a lovely way? Can you imagine Putin all lovey-doveyed up? And it would be quite weird to see him like that, instead of this evilness that he's being portrayed at right now. But that potential is there. The 7 influence is also important to mention with him, because he's turned 70 this year as well. So 7 plays out there, but he's got 2 7s there. You know, the 7th and a life path and 7 day he's born. You know, and that's about the Neptune traits, and that's about leadership. You know, the Neptune energy and the 7 life path energy is about leadership, but it's also about the veil of illusion. And you and I both are 7 life paths, so we know that when we set something in motion, it's generational. We don't just do something for the satisfaction of it in our lifetime. We want to leave legacies. We want to leave things that impact generations. So that's the really positive side about that 7 Neptunian energy. But there is a dark side to it as well. And again, I think this is what he's had to tap in to do what he's doing. And it's about deception and propaganda, obliviousness, not caring, not tapping into the feelings of feeling anything, almost being emotionally dislocated. So, they definitely, I think that is that staunchness. Whenever you see him on video, his face is always hardly moves a muscle. His 70th bottle is G19. It's platinum. And platinum is about putting up a mirror. It literally is like silver and white and mirrors and reflections, and not showing the truth of who he is in his 70th year. I think anybody who's trying to figure out why he's doing what he's doing, they're going to have a hard time sussing him out, because he's just got this four-way mirror around him. No matter which angle you're going to come at him, you're not going to figure out what he's trying to do. And platinum and that particular bottle in Colour Mirrors is about sound therapy. It's about vibration. So the frequency he's putting out is about repelling right now. It's about, pushing away. The people can't get close to him to figure out what he's doing. He was, I think, Michael, you saw it the other day on the news. He was at a meeting, and he was at this table, and like miles long table at the other end with the people he was meeting with. It's like he's so distanced from people. He's not even sitting. It's like he's not even in the same room when he meets with his leaders. So that just feels like that's the platinum that's playing out there.
Mm.
And then, my darling, he is in a 14-5 year. And 5 is all about green, and it's land grabbing, it's war, it's the green camouflage, going to cross borders, going to take what they want, and without consequence of the emotional destruction that they're causing. So you couldn't appeal to this man's emotions now to stop the war. Because there's the hidden agenda, first of all, that we don't know what it is yet, but he's just going to go do what he's doing. He's in a 5 year, and this is his mission. This is what he wants to do this year.
Mm.
Crazy stuff, Amy?
So those in a 5 year this year, you have the potential to start your own personal wars then.
You do.
So you have to, keep that in mind if this happens to be a 5 year for you, to watch on a greater scale the potential that you've got in this year, the energy that's coming with you. So, whoo.
And already, looking at a situation like this that's unfolding, and looking it through the lens of color, we already can say to the clients who come to us for color sessions and therapy and so on, if they are in a 5 year, that, like you've said, it's like, well, you can see what happens when you don't deal with your shit, when you don't deal with your emotions, when you don't face your stuff, you get so angry that you end up going to war. So this is a great year to heal that. And green is a lovely color for the heart chakra, and for healing and balancing and harmony and creating peace. So it'll be interesting to see whether they'll flip into the positive side of that, which is about peace this year. Although I can't see that happening right now. It feels like it's what he set off is really big. So we kind of have an idea of Russia and its potential and its current leader and what the leader is tapping into. We can maybe now have a look at the Ukraine, the other player in this field right now. And there's their flag. And of course, a lot of people have been putting the flags up everywhere, putting the blue and the yellow flag up. And what does that bring up for you, that blue and yellow, Amy? Do you like that? Because that's kind of your 25 bottle, right?
Yes. And, I was just looking at our color combinations book, and we can see when you've got that yellow and blue combo together, it's divine will versus ego and new visions. And so I think, the Ukraine is with, yes, blue and yellow make green, Lumi. Yes. And so that's another connection to that 5 energy. So, and there's more coming up, but yeah, their flag basically just sets them up for betrayal and learning what trust is all about, and learning to deal with what it's like to be abandoned, or to, and in their case, the whole world is sort of gathering around them. And I think this is going to enforce their belief that there is good in this world, like we are not abandoned. We are being supported. Now, what's happening, what Russia's doing to them is a bit aggressive, but the rest of the world is kind of coming and hugging them and saying, we got you. And, there's so many prayers being sent out. So they've got to have the faith that if they do enter into this, the world is going to back them. They will have the ability to make it through this. Like, they just have to keep the faith. And that's the flag everyone's carrying. Keep the faith, keep the trust.
Yeah. And the complementary colors are just as interesting because the blue is orange and of course the yellow is violet. And the combination of orange and violet again shows what is the hidden learning, what is Ukraine really about on a, as an energy for its people. And when you look at violet and orange, and again, I also have the manual with me here, the keywords are shock that leads to bliss and enlightenment. So there has to be the shock to lead them to a higher state of being. It's about huge transformation, near-death experiences. So of course there will be wars because it just feels like that would lead to them, becoming more loved and more respected, and really having a stand in the global community. It's also abused by its teacher, so if Russia is its teacher because it broke away from Russia and from the USSR, there is that, so we learned from them while we were with them. Now we're independent, and are they going to abuse us in some way? So that's definitely what they're playing with right now. These colors traditionally relate to the native Indians who were the American Indians who were wiped out, in such huge droves. So, it's kind of that replaying that energy in the Ukraine. Are they going to wipe the Ukrainians out? And do they have the capacity to do that? And is that their agenda, or just to drive them out, or, to claim them as their own citizens? We don't know that agenda yet. Right now there's just that movement still happening. But there definitely is some heavy learning in that orange and violet for the Ukraine. Yeah. Let's have a look at their face to the world, how the world sees them. There sits the tower, 16.
There's so many sevens popping up all over the place here. Like the spiritual teacher, on both parts, they both have the ability to be spiritual leaders for the rest of the world. But what's happening here with the dark side of that?
Well, 16 is the tower, foundations coming down, beliefs coming down, reshaping the country. Ukraine comes with an energy that says, well, if you came to us, you would have a different foundation. You would live differently. You would probably live a bit more eco-friendly. You would have a happier life because the foundations of what you've believed in from where you're from, when you come here, it will be a unique experience. 7 says it's more spiritual to be here with us. We're about communities. It's that 7 Neptune energy, turquoise energy that is about bringing communities together, emotional connections. They honor it. The Ukrainians honor the emotional connection, whereas we found with Russia that was not something on their agenda at all. Mm-hmm. Love it, absolutely love it. And then if we look at the internal workings, how is Ukraine managed and run on the inside? It's 18 and 9. Red there's 18 and 9, both have red in it, and then there's orange and 9 as well. The Mars energy sits in 9. So there sits this vibrancy that's in red. Red is energetic, it's vibrant, and it's about building material foundation. So I would imagine that on their agenda before the war kind of came at them, that they were looking at that. They were looking at, I don't know, I'm just assuming this because that's the colors. They're a country that wants to build a red foundation, a solid material foundation. They'd be looking at infrastructure, for example, and really getting that in place. 18 is a little bit of a contemplating, do we sell our soul to get what we want? And because it's a spiritual and material conflict one. So there's this, do we want to partner with people, and do we want to invite connections with people that can cause us to question our ethos, you know. So Ukraine is definitely on that balance of, oh, how are we going to be spiritual, but how can we also have a stable material foundation? And 9 is Mars, and it's about cycles and being able to start again. So no matter what happens, Ukraine has this inner core strength that says, well, we can begin again. We can start again. Blood might have been spilled, but we have this orange passion and fire energy, and we can build again.
I also think it means, like, with that red energy sitting on the inside, is speaking to the passion of their people. You know, you can try and invade us, but we're going to fight for what we believe in. We're going to fight to defend our beautiful country. We're going to fight to keep the faith and the passion alive.
Yeah, definitely. It's there.
They are fighters. If you listened, you know, hear the stories of people, like, no one's taken down this country as far as its people is concerned.
Yeah, it's not the army that's speaking, it's the people.
Yeah.
So they come to a 34-7, and there you and I, we're both 34-7s. So we understand this number and this connection, but of course it's got that 16 because 7 and 9 make 16. So the 16 tower literally sneaks in there as well. And it feels here, you know, if you think about what you and I try and build in our lives with our 34-7 energy, we are visionaries. We are looking to put information into the world that will change people's perceptions, expand their awareness, their self-awareness, expand consciousness. We kind of, that's kind of our soul mandate that we have to do on this planet. And I think that is what people recognize about the Ukraine too, that they're here to break down the foundations of and perceptions people have about what's right and wrong, what's good and bad, and to bring it into the modern, you know, the new Aquarian. I say the modern, but it's the new Aquarian age because it's all that turquoise energy. So I think you find that because the people really responding to this are these 20-year-old kids who are suddenly deciding they don't even have a contact with the Ukraine, and they want to go and take up arms and fight for them and fight the Russians. I mean, it's that Aquarian energy that's pulling them in. They want to protect that energy in some way. The Ukraine, once it stabilizes and if it stays independent, whatever is going to result out of this, I think has this ability to be a really great example of how to claim that 34-7 Aquarian futuristic energy and anchor it in. But I just wonder how many has to be sacrificed before that can happen. And, you know, it's horrible to think about sacrifice energy because, you know, we're at a stage where we don't want to be atoning and sacrificing for just simply existing. We want to coexist. We want to co-share. We want to co-love. And I kind of think that's what that 37-4 Ukrainian energy is going to be about. But the power has to come down first.
Yeah.
Its founding date was the 24th of August, and it's a 34-7 again. This eh? So its founding date.
Getting away from it.
Yeah, it's, you know, this country's intention, the energy, and the kind of spiritual bubble that it sits in. You know, it ties in with its name. It has a mission, and look now, it embraces Russia's 24/6. It literally right now, because it's not the aggressor, it's taken the 24/6 of Russia and it's turned it into, and it's turning it into, let's look at creating this lovely Venus goddess energy and beauty and build financial stability for our community. Love it. And the 8th, the violet, there is all about it being a very spiritual, auspicious date for them. But again, there's violet 13 in Russia. There's just this incredible mirroring of colors going on between these two countries. And let's look at Mr. Zelensky, our little Aquarian boy. He is the 25th. There's the 25-7 again.
Wow.
You're not getting away with it, hey? And he's a 33-6. He's mastering in his lifetime that 6 energy that Russia is wanting to master in its history. But he's a 25-7, so he again is set up for that whole betrayal and somebody can take advantage of me energy. And but being, Aquarians are humanitarians, right? They are the people that are progressive. They can be rebellious as well. So I think that energy, that progressive energy of his, is what's appealing to the young folk, the young kids that are really buying into supporting the Ukraine. What was that song, Michael? They were put a ring on it. Beyonce song. Yeah, Michael showed me a video the other day of Zelensky hopping and popping to and acting out that song, Put a Ring on It, from Beyonce, and he did it in such a beautiful, fun, lighthearted way. And that appeals to the younger generation, right? So that's why these young kids will follow him to war, because they relate to his energy, that Aquarian energy. An Aquarian, by the way, just to mention, there is a dark side to Aquarians as well, and they can really have narcissistic tendencies. They can be controlling. They can literally get quite stubborn. Speaking of myself,
I was going to say, aren't you in that little bucket?
Zero compassion, don't give a shit. That's a really kind of Aquarians. But that he's not showing that at all. Certainly in the media feed we get, he seems to be tapping into the positive side of the Aquarian. Aquarians are going to always seek out an outcome for the greater good. He's not fled the country, he stayed put, he's there, he's looking for a solution to the greater good. And it's, he keeps sending people to go and talk peace talks. Mm-hmm. His Aquarian's ruling planet, of course, is Uranus. It's that number 4 bottle that sits at the top with Russia. So that one influences him as well. Uranus is a planet of change. It's a planet of disruption, disrupting old orders. It's about doing things differently and having breakthroughs. He has the potential to get through to, I don't know if he can get through to Putin because of that mirrors that he's got up, but he's certainly getting through to the rest of the world, the rest of the global community. When they did that vote at the UN, I think there were more people that voted to do sanctions, economic sanctions, and to try and get through to Putin that way and stop him than in any other war ever. So, yeah. But he's on a 6th life path. He also has that choice to go, do I love it right? Do I do the Lucifer, fight it right? Steam in a cauldron energy. Mm-hmm. But look at this, Amy. He's 44 this year. So whereas Putin has that mirror up, he has this bridge energy of that C8 bottle, which is magenta bridges. And we're in 2022 is a magenta year. He has his ability to bridge things so things don't get to a nuclear point. He has this ability to build bridges, so to not go into retribution at the age he's in this year. So, let's say Russia pulls back and says sorry, which I doubt that will happen. He's not going to... he's going to move forward. He will just keep building bridges and moving forward. He has that ability to do that. Good leader. And guess what? He's in a 14-5 year. Also in a year where there was potential for war and borders being crossed and land being grabbed. And so the two of them were destined this year to be at war with one another. Mr. Vladimir and Mr. Zelensky.
Mm. The numbers don't lie.
No. But here's the nub of it, girl. The date the invasion started, 24th of February, 2022. It's a 14-5. It was written in the stars. This date, it was going to happen.
Oh, I've got goosebumps. Like this is just, it just blows my mind again. The numbers and the colors that come up, and especially when you've got that 5. It's not something I knew about 5 because it's not something that we usually would ever come up, like wars and stuff like that. But to know that is a part of 5 and that it's showing up in both of the leaders' year numbers and the date of the invasion starting. Oh my gosh.
So this now says, what can we do about this? And, besides being, students of higher consciousness and applying higher spiritual principles to our beliefs and not taking sides and judging, which is very difficult to do.
Yeah.
The answer also lies in that 5 green energy. The complementary is pink, 6 Venus, love, love, love. So as much as we want to send aid and help the Ukraine, I think it would be very useful for us to also take Russia and wrap it in a pink bubble. Wrap Vladimir in a pink bubble, and literally whenever you see his face or you think about him or people are speaking about Russia, it's just literally wrap that whole area in pink and just hold that vibration of pink and hold it with the intention of love, the positive side of pink. And that really is what we can do, is to just love, 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 no matter what. Don't go into judgment about who's right and who's wrong. The minute you do that, you add your energy and fuel to the conflict, and then it extends. It has more fuel to carry on for a longer period of time. So you'll be very careful where you add your energy. I know that can be controversial for some people because we want to have an opinion, we want to pick a side, but literally, when you are students of higher consciousness, you step into that zone where you hold a higher view and you understand that there's something going on here. There's a sacred contract playing out between these 2 countries and these 2 men and these two communities that we don't have an understanding of. We're not privy to that, but we definitely can just go compassion and love, wrap them up in that and hold them in that, and do something practical if you feel drawn to it. If you want to send money to the Red Cross, by all means do that as well. But try to not do posts on Facebook that slams and damns and chooses sides, because remember, that energy you're taking, you're adding it to the conflict. And you don't want, especially if you're a light worker, your light's already expanded. You can imagine how much that expands the energy that you link with. So just do love, my darlings. Just love, 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 love. And let's see what happens with the energy. There's enough light workers on the planet that we can make a difference, if we band it together and just love them all. Yeah. But I like what we've did here, Amy, because you can see Vladimir has that potential to tap into the emotional side, to step out of the abuse of the emotions and the mental abuses and all that kind of control games that he plays, into feeling things. It's there, maybe, I don't know. But yeah,
it's so hard for people who are watching their families be, sent to bomb shelters and fire and all that stuff, to ask them to rise above and send love and light to the country that's invading them. But imagine the energy of that person. I think we can all stand on this side of the ocean and send love and light, but when the love and light is coming from within the conflict, I think it has to be brighter. It has to be more powerful when it comes from that space. The prisoner is being abused by the jailer, like we were, I think, talking about. What was that? There's a quote. Yeah.
It says the prison guard is as much a prisoner as the prisoner.
Yes. And if you, as the prisoner, aka the Ukraine people, can send love to that keeper and the abuser, then oh my gosh, like I think God looks at that as a little bit, he adds more power to that than
well, I remember the Egyptian uprisings, where people in the square, when they were faced by the tanks, they started putting flowers into the guns of the soldiers. Yes. Ordinary people turned up and just did a whole flower kind of thing. I don't know how Putin would respond to a bunch of flowers, but we don't need to do it that way. We can do it energetically. We definitely cover them in some pink roses if we have to. But it's the main thing to do here, to not add energy and escalate the energy with the power of your own energy force field, your magnetic force field, is to be neutral and to be in a space of love and non-judgment. Because literally that's what that pink Venus is teaching Russia, and it's the energy that Zelensky is putting out into the world as well. And that is love it right, don't fight it right. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think also just on another note is, you know, if you are very affected by this, even if you don't have ties to the Ukraine or family in the Ukraine, but it still affects you, you've got to look back at when you were bullied as a child. And this is an opportunity to heal some of your own inner wounded child, you know, stories that you have. And for that, you know, the best thing to do is grab a bottle from one of our Colour Mirrors therapists and go and have a bath in it and release it, so that you release any energy you have that will kind of almost propel you into a judgment situation, into taking sides.
That's
and yeah.
And you know, it's like I'm looking at Russia with this pink energy. At the end of the day, the total is pink, and it's like, well, you know, we're big and we're chunky and we just want to be loved, and everyone, you know, really underlying, there's a lot of pink going on in this reading here. And so everybody just wants to be loved, but then they kind of tap into, well, if you're not going to love me, I'm just going to punch you in the face. And so, you know, then you have to be able to say, can I love the guy who punched me in the face? It's,
yeah. If I looked at this, Amy, just glancing at the full slide as it is, and all that turquoise popping up,
yeah.
You know, the age of Aquarius is a water carrier air sign, and it's the golden age of Aquarius. And the people put various you know, terms on this new era that we're stepping into, but really it's an Aquarian turquoise process. What if what is happening right now is humanity's last look at what the last 2,000 years was about, which was about division and who's right and who's wrong, and my God's bigger than your God. And we're tapping into emotions and these things, and all the people that are part of the Ukrainian and Russian conflict is, you know, is opening those higher hearts, because that's where turquoise sits. It sits, the heart chakra is green and turquoise sits just above that. What if this is opening up the hearts of humanity in a way that wars have never done before? So that we have one last look at it, that we can begin to open up to a peaceful future, and then we can look at Putin in a different lens. You know, is he part of this grander sacred contract scheme to make this happen?
Well,
it's something to contemplate and think about anyway. You know, we always try to make sense of what's going on out there in the world, but
through color, through numbers, through planets. It's just, I'm so glad we had this. I was nervous about this conversation, but because it is so hot and is so, you know, personal for so many people right now.
If you've been bullied, if you've ever been bullied, or you had someone betray you, this is going to feel personal. And you know, you have, and you go, and it's my human right to take a side. It's my human right to defend myself. But we're really having a conversation through color, which helps us to tap into looking at things just a little bit from a higher consciousness, and just maybe let's just love them all and see what happens. You know, it won't hurt to try.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you for encouraging me to look at this. You know, we kind of went out of our business box and into something else today. So let us know what you thought. Let us know if you have any connection to the color through these countries and what that means to you. And if anything resonated, we would appreciate it. So thank you, Michael, behind the scenes. Thank you, Moira.
Cheers. Thank you, Amy. Cheers, everybody.